Okay, welcome to Reciprocal Functions Part 3. Now, what I wanted to do here is I made a very simple graph here in blue, and I've got a bunch of those points that make that original graph here in this table of values. And what I've got over here is a table of values where I'm going to fill in where these points go when we do the reciprocal stuff to the y. And then I'm going to draw this new graph right over top here. Okay, and I think it's really an important thing to analyze these little zones. Like when we start right here at this point, -1 with a y value of 0, well, we know what that means at -1. Oops, a little overkill on the negative. At -1, what we know is that there's going to be a vertical asymptote. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that in, and that's going to kind of frame the start of the graph. So what we have happening here is there's a vertical asymptote over on this side. Okay, and that's where our graph is going to start. The next point that I'm going to look at is -1/2, +1/2. So the x value is still -1/2, but when I reciprocate or flip this 1/2 over, I get +2. So I go over here at -1/2, used to be here, now our new point is up here. So I'll just mark it with a little x. And then we have the point 0,1. Well, the reciprocal, when we flip the 1 over, we still get 1. So that point is invariant. It's not going to move. So there it is. And then we have the point 1/2 corresponding to 1.5, 1.5 up here. So if we flip that over, if we go 1 divided by 1.5, we're going to get about 2/3. And here we have the point 1 with a y value of 2, and when we flip the 2, we get 1/2. So let's put in the rest of these little points here and see what's happening. Okay, so we left off here at 0,1, then we have 1 goes up about 2/3, so something like that. And then our last point here at 1, we go up to about 1/2. Okay, so I'm going to try and draw this relatively smoothly here. I think what we have happening is our graph starts over here, and it's a curved graph, kind of works its way up like this. Just try and draw this section at a time. Okay, so there's the beginning part, and then I think it goes roaring up through this point, and then it keeps snuggling up next to that vertical asymptote. Okay, so that's what I think we have happening here. Okay, so this is the reciprocal graph of this blue original line. Okay, one thing I just want to mention before we finish with this one is that you notice these y values over here that were positive numbers, and when we reciprocate them, they stay positive, and that's important. If these had been negative y values, then when we reciprocate them, then they would have stayed negative numbers. Okay, and that's going to be important when we have a more complicated graph to analyze. But for now, that's where I'm going to stop.